everyone. Welcome to the Arm Coach Podcast, episode 71. I've been doing a lot of celebrating lately between birthdays, milestones, and just everyday wins. It's been a season full of good energy. I've got another celebration coming up soon. One of my closest friends is having a birthday. Today's episode is all about learning how to celebrate you, not how to be celebrated, but how to actively celebrate yourself, your effort, your growth, your transformation. Let me be clear, you don't need champagne, a cheat meal, or a day off to do it. Learning how to celebrate yourself is a skill most women were never taught. We were taught how to stay humble, how to deflect compliments, and how to wait for someone else to acknowledge our hard work. But no one ever pulled us aside and said, hey, you just showed up for yourself for 2 weeks in a row. That's worth celebrating. Here's the truth. It is amazing when someone else notices your progress. But if you don't know how to recognize it for yourself, you'll always be waiting for someone else to make you feel proud. And that puts your power in someone else's hands. We're not doing that here. You're learning how to build toned arms. But more than that, you're learning how to trust yourself, follow through, and own your success. Celebrating that, it's not just allowed, it's necessary. Here's something I really want you to think about, because if you've been listening for a while, you've probably heard me talk about the think, feel, act cycle. You know by now, no one else is in charge of your emotions, not your partner, not your kids, not your best friend. You are, which means when it comes to feeling proud, strong, or worthy of celebrating, it's not about what other people do for you. It's about what you choose to think about yourself. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I had friends fly in to surprise me on my birthday. They had gifts, plans, the whole thing. But I had just gone through a breakup and I couldn't enjoy any of it. They tried to cheer me up, but it didn't matter. My thoughts were stuck on what I had lost. And those thoughts were shaping how I felt that day, not their efforts. That's the power of the think, feel, act cycle. Other people can do everything right, but if your thoughts don't line up, you won't feel it. It's especially true when it comes to your health journey. Your family might compliment your progress. Your trainer might cheer you on. Your friends might notice your arms are more defined. But none of that will matter if you don't recognize your own progress. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What are you doing to mark your wins? Because we've all been taught to wait for external celebration, cards, toasts, compliments, someone noticing. But what if your transformation didn't depend on someone else noticing? What if the most powerful thing you could do was notice yourself? And listen, I know some of you are already thinking, that's not me. I don't like the spotlight. Or I'm too old to celebrate myself. Or even, I haven't done enough yet to deserve a celebration. Now, I want to gently challenge some of the thoughts that might be coming up for you, because here's the thing. Birthdays are neutral. They aren't good or bad. They're just dates on the calendar. It's what you think about them that creates your experience. Here's one thought I want to offer you. Your birthday is the anniversary of the day you entered this world. There was a time you didn't exist. And now here you are, still breathing, still showing up, still growing, still doing the work of becoming the woman you want to be. That's not something small. That's something worth honoring. And yet, so many of the women I coach say they're afraid of aging, afraid of dying, afraid of wasting time. But when it comes time to actually celebrate being alive, another year of progress, wisdom, strength, they don't want to do that either. They end up in this strange no man's land, terrified of not existing, but unwilling to celebrate that they do. That used to be me. I had this love hate relationship with birthdays. I wanted them to feel special. I wanted people to make me feel seen and celebrated. And yet, no matter what happened, it never felt quite like enough. And here's why. For a long time, I didn't know how to approve of myself. I didn't know how to like myself. So I treated my birthday like a test, a moment to collect love and validation from everyone else, hoping it would make up for the love I didn't know how to give myself. And when that external celebration didn't match what I hoped for, I spiraled. I made it mean I wasn't important, that I wasn't loved, that I didn't matter, because I didn't know how to create that belief inside me. And maybe you've felt something similar, not just about birthdays, but about your body, your progress, your arms. Maybe part of you struggle to feel proud because you're still waiting for someone else to give you permission. But here's the truth. No one else can create the feeling of celebration or success for you. It has to come from your own thoughts about yourself. Now, for me, there was another layer to all of this. Birthdays, like a lot of milestones in my life, became deeply tied to a pattern that felt comforting in the moment, but didn't actually serve me: overeating. For years, that was the default. Birthday? Time to celebrate with food, big meal, dessert, maybe a weekend full of, it's fine, it's my birthday. And listen, I told myself it was normal. Everyone does this. But deep down, I knew I was using it as a reward and as a way to check out. So the first time I decided I didn't want to keep living like that, when I made the decision to start showing up as a woman who honored her body and celebrated progress without sabotaging it, my birthday came around and I completely panicked because I didn't know how to celebrate myself without food being the main event. So instead of facing that discomfort, I bailed. I made up an excuse, a family obligation I had to attend. I removed myself from the day, not because I didn't care, but because I had no idea how to be present without falling back into old patterns. And here's what's wild. I told myself I had to celebrate with food, that anything else would feel empty or boring. But the truth is, I had years of birthdays before I ever connected them to overeating. My brain just couldn't see that evidence because I had rehearsed the same habit so many times it felt like fact. That's what I want you to know. Just because something feels automatic doesn't mean it's right for you. And just because you've always done it one way doesn't mean you can't do it differently now. Eventually, I realized that avoiding the pattern wasn't enough. If I wanted to become the woman I envisioned, calm, confident, strong, present, I had to learn how to celebrate from that place. I had to stop outsourcing joy to food, stop using the day as an excuse to disconnect, and instead start asking, what would feel like a celebration to the version of me I'm becoming? The first time I truly practiced this, it looked nothing like a big party. I had no plan, no dinner reservation, no elaborate treat. I simply took the day off and told myself, You don't need to earn this. You don't need to escape it. Just be with yourself today. And for the first time, I didn't end the day feeling regret. I ended it feeling proud because I didn't check out. I showed up, and that was everything. Now, that year, I was using something that ended up being a surprisingly powerful part of this whole shift. It wasn't anything fancy. It was just a guided journal I had picked up called the 5 Minute Morning Mindset. It had a daily prompt, a quote, a space to reflect on what I was grateful for, and a few lines to set my intention for the day. At the time, I was trying to build a new kind of morning routine, one that didn't revolve around rushing, reacting, or obsessing over the scale. Every morning, I'd make myself a cup of coffee, sit down, and spend 5 minutes writing. Sometimes it felt silly, like, what am I even doing? But over time, I realized this small habit was teaching me how to be present with myself. So on my birthday that year, just like I had the 25 mornings before it, I woke up, made my coffee, and opened my journal. And the prompt for that day said, what have you done this year that you never thought you could? That one question hit me hard because I had been so focused on what I hadn't done yet, how far I had to go, the areas I still wanted to fix or improve or perfect, that I hadn't stopped to notice I was changing. I was following through. I was showing up for myself in ways I never had before. I hadn't spent the year numbing out. I hadn't abandoned my goals. I had actually started to become the kind of woman I used to envy, the one who followed through on her workouts, who didn't spiral after a treat, who could say enough without drama or punishment, who was learning how to feel proud without needing anyone else to clap for her. And I just sat there for a minute holding that truth. No distractions, no big celebration, just me present with myself. And in that moment, I realized this is what it means to celebrate a birthday from the inside out. The only thing I planned that day was to take the day off. No appointments, no distractions, just a full open day. And I asked myself one simple question: how can I celebrate me today? Not by earning it, not by proving something, but by honoring what I genuinely wanted, how I wanted to feel, move, rest, reflect. That whole day was led by something I hadn't practiced much before: desire, whim, self connection. And I remember thinking, oh, this is what celebrating yourself can feel like. It doesn't have to involve anyone else. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, but for the first time, it wasn't about collecting approval or waiting for someone else to make me feel loved. It was about me learning how to do that for myself. And that birthday changed something in me because I realized I don't need permission to feel proud. I don't need applause to validate my progress. I don't even need a special occasion to create a moment that feels meaningful. That shift from looking outward for celebration to looking inward is one of the most important skills I've ever built. And let me tell you, most women don't know how to do this, especially if, like me, you've spent most of your life trying to earn your worth through doing, achieving, performing, or making everyone else happy. You start to realize that birthdays or any moment meant to feel special become these quiet tests. Will someone show me that I matter? Will someone prove I'm enough? But here's the truth. You don't have to wait for your birthday to stop living that way. You can start now, today, by asking yourself, what would it look like to celebrate myself in small ways? Not with food, not with skipping your workout, but with presence, with kindness, with actual attention to what feels aligned. Would you make a beautiful meal just for yourself? Would you go for a walk in silence and soak in the morning light? Would you write a letter to your future self or gift yourself an experience instead of a thing? If that sounds unfamiliar or even uncomfortable, you're not alone. This kind of self approval isn't something most of us were taught. It takes practice. It takes slowing down enough to hear your own voice beneath all the noise. But the more you do it, the clearer that inner compass becomes. And the more you start building your habits, not from pressure or punishment, but from respect for the woman you're becoming. Here's what I want to offer you. Take all of that care and thoughtfulness you'd pour into celebrating someone you love and try redirecting just a little of that toward yourself. Now, I'm not saying it won't feel awkward at first. It probably will. You might hear that little voice saying, "Isn't this selfish? Isn't this what other people are supposed to do for me?" If that voice comes up, don't make it a problem. It's normal. But also ask yourself, do I want to keep relying on other people to make me feel proud? Or do I want to learn how to give that to myself? Because that's what we're doing here, not just in birthdays, but in everyday choices. We're learning how to honor our bodies, how to keep our promises, how to create joy and strength from within. That skill, that's what changes everything. Not the scale, not someone else noticing, you noticing, you showing up, you saying, hey, I like who I'm becoming. That birthday transformed me. Not because I had a perfect day, not because I earned a reward, but because I finally understood that I didn't need permission to be proud. I didn't need to reward myself with food. I didn't need to be the old version of me anymore. I just needed to tune back in. And that's what I want for you. Ask yourself, how often do I celebrate myself versus waiting for someone else to do it? If that balance is off, that's okay. That's not a failure. That's information. It's a starting point because celebrating yourself starts by tuning in. And let's be honest, so many of the old patterns we're breaking, they were all about tuning out. This work, this habit of paying attention, honoring your effort, celebrating your consistency, it will change your life. It changed mine. As we wrap up, I want you to think about just one small thing you can do this week to celebrate yourself. Not because you've earned it, but because you're learning how to live as a woman who follows through. That's it for today, my friends. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.